Good evening. At this time, I'd like to call a regular meeting to the Wallingford Inland and Wetlands Watercourse Commission to order. The date is April 3rd, and the time is 7:03. Please join me in a pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Ally?
Eileen McKean.
Nick Kern.
Jim Vitale.
David Parent.
Deborah Phillips.
Robert Simon.
Aaron O'Hare, Environmental Planner.
Going on the agenda is the consideration of the minutes of our previous regular meeting of March 6, 2019. Is there any comments or corrections to the minutes? If there are not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the minutes of the regular meeting of March 6, 2009 be approved.
Second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote. Ally?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, going on to old business. Application A 14-7.2, 195 Chimney Hill Road, Sunwood Development, request for bond release.
Okay, that's going to have to wait till the grass grows in, so.
Okay. Application A 19-2.2, 14 Brookview Avenue, John Santa Maria.
The applicant asked that that be tabled because I went out there, did a site investigation, and looked at what they were trying to do down there, and I called for the help with Roman Brzezinski Southwest Conservation District because he's really good with stream bank stabilization. He came out, met with the owner and the contractor, and they agreed it's got to be a lot more extensive than was originally proposed. So they're waiting for his report, and then they'll present next time.
Okay. Application A 19-3.1, 14 Fairfield Boulevard, Davenport Associates, LLC. Sorry about that. Yes, sir.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Chris Hulk. I'm a licensed professional engineer here in the state of Connecticut, here on behalf of the applicant, Davenport Associates. So what this project entails is the development of an expansion of the office space at the current Davenport Associates facility and the expansion of the outdoor storage area that's located on the northern side of the property. The application is required due to the change from a grassed or forested area, pervious area, to going to a semi-impervious area that's over 10,000 square feet. Currently on the site, there are no wetlands. When we were here maybe a little over 2 years ago for the actual development of the headquarters, it was the same sort of situation. So there are wetlands that are located on the eastern and western sides, and then there is now the stormwater basin that also, I believe, is regulated through the town activities. So currently, the closest activity that we have would be the changing of what's currently a paved storage area to be the office expansion area. That's the area shown in dark brown, sort of centrally located on the plan. This will just be basically a mirror image of what the existing office space is. This will be a facility that they're going to use for training and a small expansion of some of their day-to-day employees. Basically how those operations are going to work is they'll have trainings for
Wetlands.
So there's really no impact to the wetlands from that perspective. In the terms of the foundation being installed, we'll have sediment and erosion controls that will be placed to keep any materials away from the stormwater basin. The other area that's getting redeveloped would be the outdoor storage area. Currently, it was a semi-forested area that was mainly briars and undergrowth that was located at the far northern portion of the property. Under the previous development, it was being used as a snow storage area. So what is being proposed is to remove the trees, remove the topsoil, and basically place down millings material, same sort of material that's being used in their current outdoor storage area, which will allow them to use the space for their storage needs for piping, pipe fittings, and also have an area for the snow storage there as well. This expansion was approved in the Zoning Board of Appeals to be able to do this work. So we really don't foresee any adverse impact to the wetland areas due to the proximity from the wetlands that we're having. The building itself, I believe, is around 150 to 200 feet away, and the outdoor storage area is several hundred feet away from any of the wetlands.
Any questions? Ally? Nick?
Where did you say you're gonna put the, this was the area the snow was gonna be stockpiled? Where is it gonna be stockpiled now?
It's going to be stockpiled in the same general location, but it'll just be stored on a different surface material.
Is any of this material gonna be removed from the site?
The topsoil will be removed.
And what do you estimate the quantity of topsoil that's gonna be leaving the site?
Around 500 or 600 cubic yards.
How much?
500 or 600 cubic yards, so it's about 6 or so inches of topsoil that's out there. The space that's being developed there is about 30,000 square feet, so about 500 or 600 cubic yards.
I was out there a couple months ago and drove into the back parking area there, and there's a pretty defined elevation difference between where you want to put the extension and where the existing area is. That's why I asked you where the material was going to go, because it looked almost too steep to stockpile pipe and stuff. So you're just going to shift the material around the site, or I don't understand how you're going to use that for.
Yeah, so what the plan calls for on the southern side of the storage area, the area in the yellowish color there, is a retaining wall. It'll be somewhere in the range of 2 to 3.5 feet high, depending on which portion of the wall that you're in. And the purpose of that being that we actually do need to raise a portion of the site and cut a portion of the site to make a flatter area so that the pipe can safely be stored there.
So you're going to step it then?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have, Jim.
Okay. Dave?
Nothing.
Eddie?
Oh, no.
Actually, I did have a question. Not quite sure. If you go to your map D1, and it shows this
Retaining wall.
typical, it says impervious fill, 12 inches deep. Is that right?
Is that on the very top layer or the very bottom layer?
This is right on the top. Typical section, unreinforced retaining walls for 48 feet maximum exposed height. And it shows how you're building it up with the blocks, and you got drainage, and you got a pipe. But up on top it says impervious fill, 12 inches deep.
Yeah, that I believe is a typo.
Okay.
What we'll be having on top of that is actually a trench drain. So basically an open graded stone that'll be at the top of the wall. That'll also be located, that type of trench drain, along the western side. So that will be able to capture any stormwater runoff into those infiltration trenches, promoting infiltration, and any overflows would then tie into the existing stormwater system that's on site. We've checked the calculations for that, and the stormwater basin is capable of handling this proposed improvement without really any need for any modification to the basin itself. There is a small modification that we'll have to make to the outlet control structure. The V-notch weir, which is the part that retains the water and allows it to spill over in a controlled manner, will have to be raised 1 inch.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Aaron?
Your environmental planner's report went out you got it Friday night, on this project. The regulated activity that I describe in there is the creation of surfaced area. That's why they're in front of the commission tonight. The net surfaced area is approximately 28,500 square feet that they're creating. So that's why they had to apply. Also, I didn't put it in the report, but also they are increasing the drainage, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, to the basin as it comes out the pipe.
There's an increase in the stormwater flow. Currently, all that material still does get to the basin, but due to the change in material type, there'll be an increase in stormwater runoff. So yes, you're correct.
Right, slight increase, small increase. So those are the two regular activities. Tonight, I handed out his revised plan that just came in yesterday, was it?
Monday afternoon.
Okay. And that revised plan was revised in response to my environmental planner's report. There were a few little things I picked up in there under the required or requested information yet to be submitted. So Chris revised the plan and it's now in front of you. He's touched on all these points, areas that were revised. I believe, did you say snow storage? Did you talk about that? Okay. And raising the V-notch weir, handing in the drainage calculations, a statement that the basin has sufficient storage, even though they're increasing the surfaced area, so that was important to say. The stormwater management maintenance plan came in, and calling out the access way. I looked at this today, the revised plan, and I have, in my report, I have 2 conditions of approval, should you choose to go ahead, and those 2, and then I would add maybe 3 more, or maybe we can talk about them. One is, I noticed the stormwater management plan that you handed in today didn't have the stone trench, so you need to add it to talk about maintenance for that stone trench. I would like as another condition that should the Planning and Zoning Commission require anything, to check with the environmental planner to see if further wetland permitting is required. Because sometimes people forget. They're so happy to get their approval from Planning and Zoning, they forget, whoops, maybe I should go back and see if I need anything from wetlands for what was changed. Then the other thing was, and during construction, you're hooking up the new construction, the area under construction, you're hooking that up with a stone trench, and it goes through the pipe, an existing pipe, across the land and then down into the basin. I was just wondering if maybe we could put some hay bales at the end of that pipe where it spills into the basin, just for, during the raw construction period.
Yeah, we take no exception to taking measures for needed S&E controls during construction, and we'd be happy to work with you on specific language with that, or about controls that you feel are adequate.
Okay. The 2 conditions of approval that were in the report was to make sure it's perforated pipe. This new length of pipe you're putting in, the commission required perforated pipe for the roof water for the original approval. So for this new section of roof that you will be constructing, if it could be perforated pipe.
Yep, on the revised plans, I called for them to match the existing type of pipe that's there, so the perforated piping.
I saw it called to match it out, but it didn't say perforated, so I wasn't sure the contractor would know that perforated pipe was required.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
All right, wait a
revise
minute.
that.
She's added a bunch of things. Do you understand each one of the things she added? And you're agreeing to all of those things?
I am agreeing that we will add the language to the operation and maintenance about the stormwater.
To me, talk to me.
So the first condition being the trench drains that we'll be adding for the storage area. We will add operation and maintenance to those.
But the trench drain is on your plan.
On the.
Oh, you got it listed in the maintenance contract?
So the operation and maintenance plan that was submitted separately, excluded that material. So I will revise that plan to include that material as a condition of approval. The second one being that we will work with the environmental agency to take the necessary measures for sediment erosion controls during construction. And then the third one, we will revise the language from matching the pipe type to also calling out it for it to be a perforated pipe for the roof leader drains.
Okay.
And,
What?
well, specifically, Chris, the second to last one you mentioned, is that hay bales or some other protection be installed at the place where that pipe discharges to the basin. Just during the raw stages of construction.
So the proposed storm drainage improvements will tie into the existing storm drainage system.
Right. But it might be dirty, water coming through there. That, unless you think that it wouldn't be dirty water coming through there.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, we can add some hay bales down where the outlet to the basin is.
Okay.
We
And
don't have a
then,
problem with that.
and the other one is this, I said standard erosion control. So that's that the environmental planner is contacted to inspect the erosion control plan on site and to approve it before any further activities, which is the standard erosion control.
Can I ask him a
All right.
question?
Okay.
You go ahead.
Do you want me to go through them again?
Yeah, no, here's the whole
You should have
problem.
had them written out.
Because the problem is, I don't, usually when you have a lot of them, I can say in accordance with the environmental planning report with a certain date. I don't have anything in writing here, and so the best I could do is say, in accordance with the terms and conditions as negotiated during the course of the meeting. Otherwise, I'm going to be here,
Well,
trying to write those out, and you've got several of these things that are kind of lengthy. That's my problem.
okay, I think Chris can remember to come back after planning and zoning. If they tweak anything, you have to remember to come back to us, so we can forget about that one.
I thought
Okay?
I thought you got a ZBA on this.
Zoning Board of Appeals was needed to change the required open space from 50% to 45%.
Okay, you did, but you still have to go to P and Z.
We still have to go to P and Z. We'll have that hearing on Monday.
Well, let me see. This case will, I guess the only thing you can do is just draft them out one by
Well,
one.
the two, you can just say the two that is on the last sentence of my environmental planner's report. Those are the,
But
Let's just use those two.
you will use those two things, because the other things I think are technical details that you're working out. So if that's okay, fine.
Yeah,
Well-
go ahead.
I would like, the maintenance of the stone trench. He's got to add to maintain the stone trench. That's easy.
I would see that as a technical thing that you're working on. As but I said, you got your two conditions of approval here, which I think we can use.
That's fine.
Fine. Okay,
Okay. Any other comments from the commission?
I have just one quick one.
Go ahead, Nick.
In 15 seconds, can you explain to me what she wants the maintenance on the trenches? Those are French drains or those are trench drains?
Those will be stone trench drains, so it'll be, a 3-foot wide by 4-foot deep bed of stone with a pipe at the bottom of it. So the maintenance of that will basically be to periodically inspect the surface stone to make sure that the millings are not encumbering that stone material and that it'll continue to function adequately. And items that she's asking for is that on the one page and on the title, the one page that I submitted separately and on the title sheet, to add some language specifically for those stone trenches to be periodically inspected and built up debris to be removed as required.
So when we have another winter like we just had, all the millings are going to be in the trench drains? Basically.
They could potentially be over there, so we'll have to, review those.
What was your reasoning for putting perforated pipe in? She requested perforated pipe, but we were out there during construction and all those soils out there aren't percolating soils. I mean, they're not hard pan, but they're the next best step to hard pan. So there's not going to be any leachings going into the soils. Why are you using perforated pipe?
We're using an effort to help to do infiltration there. So the pipe at the perforated pipe that she's asking for is around the building itself for the roof leaders. Preferably, I would prefer if it was a solid pipe. But if it's a recommendation and a requirement of, this approval, we don't feel adversely to doing a perforated pipe.
Was that her request, the perforated pipe, or yours?
I believe it was the environmental planners.
This goes back to the original permit of 2 years ago. The commission wanted that roof water to recharge. So the applicant said, fine, we'll put in a perforated pipe. That's how it happened the first time. They were trying to accommodate the commission's desire to have it, some of it percolate, not all that clean water go off into the basin. From the roof, this is from the roof.
So we still feel that, we don't feel adversely to doing that.
All right, so the only thing addressed is going to be the millings going into the trench drains, because I've never seen in 60 years how you can keep them segregated. And usually after a 5-year period, you don't even know the drains are there, because they're all part of the shelf.
Yep, the owner's well aware of the operations that are going to be required of them to, make these things to continue to work as they're designed. They've been very good so far about doing the maintenance programs that are on there, and keeping everyone that's also working at the company and running the day-to-day operations aware of those things. They've already scheduled, I believe, the cleaning out of the sediment from the existing catch basins. So, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't continue to do these things.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Okay. Any other comments from the commission? And I'll entertain a motion regarding the significance activity of this application.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that application A19-3.4, 14 Fairfield Boulevard, Davenport Associates LLC, be deemed to be not a significant activity.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, any discussion? Call for a vote. Ally? Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny this application.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that application A19-3.1, 14 Fairfield Boulevard, Davenport Associates LLC expansion be approved with two conditions of approval as set forth in the environmental planners report dated March 28th, 2019.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Ally?
Yes. Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, all set. All right. Okay, going on, application A19, 3.2, 333 Christian Street, Choate School, Choate Rosemary Hall.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
So for the record, I am Walter Scheffler. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Choate Rosemary Hall. I'm joined by Rob Champlin, who is a project manager with Clark Companies, and they are our design and build partner for this plant project. I'll make a couple of comments and then I'll turn it over to our partner here. The plan you see before us writ large is for the renovation of the existing North McGuire outdoor athletic field. We would be moving from an existing grass playing surface to a synthetic playing surface. The primary motivation for Choate's desire to make this renovation really ties to the existing conditions on the site very difficult drainage situation with this field, and a effort to kind of promote a better ability to schedule outdoor sports athletic contests in a timely manner, particularly after a very, very wet season that we had last year. So really connecting to more playing ability, more playing time, augmenting our other existing synthetic field, and promoting student safety.
And with that, as Walt said, thank you. My name is Rob Champlin. I'm with Clark Companies, a project manager specializing in our design build outdoor athletic fields. I've been doing this for 19 years. Clark Companies has been in business for over 60 years, and 35 of which have been dedicated to outdoor athletic field construction. We operate in the Northeast United States primarily. So with that, I'd like to go through kind of the design drawings that we've come up with for the particular site here at North McGuire Field.
You gonna go off the easel or off these ones?
I'd go either way, whatever you're comfortable with. We can.
Well, I think for the television cameras, it might be
Sure.
up there. You gotta use the microphone.
Okay. Great. So we have an existing natural grass playing field, set of bleachers and everything. The site itself will be accessed in the future by a gravel access road that we will use for construction. So that's kind of the one drainage area that we came up with two drainage areas when we performed our stormwater management calculations. So the one drainage area consists of the road and kind of any what I'll call impervious areas. There is a little pad for future construction of a building here. We're attenuating these for water quality by a sand trench with a pipe, and we're attenuating the quantity by a pond structure with an outlet. So that takes care of kind of the drainage area of that side. The synthetic field proper has a slope on the west side, the field area, and then another slope on the east side going down to a stream. We've denoted the wetland buffer on the plans, and it roughly follows, halfway up the bank to near where there's an existing fence, and follows up to the north of the site. The field itself, as was mentioned, the field itself is currently natural grass, surface flow, not terrible soils, but they're finely grained, so they don't promote any infiltration. We did some geotechnical testing, and really just kind of a muddy mess still to this day. What we propose doing is a synthetic turf field. Now these things are vertically draining. They don't surface flow. What makes these playable is that the top stays dry where the athletes' feet are. So the water flows through this turf section through a 8-inch stone base and into flat drains and a permeable fabric. So it's a very highly permeable system. Water just shoots right through it, follows the subgrade, and then it's collected in pipe networks around the outside. So these pipe networks were engineered to hold basically, the field surface is 87,400 square feet. There's roughly 1,100 feet of pipe that's 24 inches in diameter. It's in a 7-foot wide trench going around the field. This field system, if you convert it to gallons, is capable of withholding about 200,000 gallons of water, and release very slowly back out into the wetland. So that is shown in plan. The flat pipes tied to a perimeter collector, and then an outlet point. Now that outlet point for that entire area is 6 inches, that all flows through a control structure here with a weir plate that backs all that water back up into the field, and there's literally a 3-inch opening at the bottom that allows that water to come out. So it's very highly engineered, managed system for stormwater flows. The rest of that drainage area is, like I mentioned, the banks. We're going to maintain the existing drainage structures that are there. There's piping that we will make some improvements on to mitigate the erosion that's going on there right now. But in general, the flows, the stormwater flows, pre and post construction are the same, you know, over this entire area. I think that's it in a nutshell.
Ally? Nick?
You talked about what you're gonna do for it. What's gonna happen downstream of your when you're done with it? You talked about 200,000 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
If for some reason that peaks out, where's the water gonna go?
If
Mike's not here tonight, thank you.
it does overflow,
Yes.
it'll be within kind of the field itself is enclosed by a perimeter concrete curb. So if worse comes to worse, now this is designed to hold the 100-year storm. So if it's the 500-year storm, it will go over that curb.
Did you take the weepage allowance for a weepage coming from the bank from the east? Isn't the bank quite steep there?
From the east going down into the wetlands,
Yes.
did we calculate the weepage? I'm sorry.
Well, this is the lower field. If you go in, the driveway's high, then you
Yep.
got the field, then you got the bank going up to the track up the.
Yeah.
Is there any weepage in that bank on the upper track coming down to the lower?
It's not attenuated in the field. That's the section that's maintained by the existing drainage system.
You might be on the wrong side of the peak.
Okay.
Okay, this is on the opposite side of the high
Okay,
ridge
this is,
at the track.
This is, downhill
All right,
from the
this-
track.
the other stuff,
Exactly.
all right,
Yep.
Furthest,
Yep.
this field is furthest this.
Yep.
so there is a way, if you peak out with 200,000 gallons, so there is a way of releasing the water from the system.
Yep.
What material are you using to put down? What's your layer of?
It is a 3/4-inch clean wash stone. So it's typically the void space that we use to calculate these things is 40% voids in that stone storage. So that's a good portion of this stormwater management system.
I've just read a few articles about the older ones were used with the material you have to remove now because it's not safe.
Yep.
Like a ground tire or whatever it was. This gravel you're talking about is is the replacement for what was not any longer used?
Well, the gravel itself, sorry about that. The gravel itself is beneath the turf. So that's this layer here. That's below the actual synthetic turf here with the fabric, and then a sand and rubber infill above that keeps the grass blades vertical, the plastic grass blades vertical. So the stone itself is a quarry product. It's a crushed quarry product that
Okay.
the water goes through, and it is withheld in that stone storage.
Okay, the last of my questions, in the beginning of your presentation, you talked about a building. What, you're gonna have some type of building on, or is it gonna be outhouses, porterhouses?
Storage, it's gonna be dry storage.
And what's the size of that building, the footprint you're gonna?
I think that's still under,
It's still under
Debate.
consideration. The idea was basically for a probably 2 to 3 bay uninsulated frame building to house soccer balls. Might have some routing for fiber optic cable that we would use for cameras that may be installed on the perimeter of the field, but it's not a conditioned building.
Okay, so it's not gonna have electricity and water and sewer and all that?
It won't have water, it won't have sewer. It would likely have electricity for lighting, but just basic.
Okay, thank you.
You made a comment this was a round stone base, and then you said it's a crushed product.
it is a crushed product. It
It's not
was an
round
error
stone,
in the round.
not
no,
river
round.
rock. It's a quarry run,
It's a
probably.
quarry product. Yep.
Trap rock.
Yes, sir.
You're still using those kind of voids, 40% voids?
Yep.
On a 3/4 inch stone.
Mhm.
Dave?
No questions?
Debbie?
So it's all draining from the bleacher side down to the side where the drains are? It's all, the field's all draining in one direction?
It is not actually. The half of the field right now drains back toward the bank. The field does have a crown, so it, if you're looking at it in profile, it goes down the bank and then kind of back up to the center of the field and back down. So half of that field drains to three existing structures that are there right now.
Okay,
And the other half does head over the bank.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Robert?
No questions.
Aaron?
The environmental planner's report went out to you on Friday night, but at that time, I did not have the revised plans. The revised plans, I guess, came in Thursday or Friday, and they're out. I put them, I'm sorry, I did send them to you. I sent them to you in the packet Friday night, the revised plans. However, the applicant is not looking for approval tonight because they're going to revise again, is my understanding. Correct? Because I was out there Friday, I did my first site investigation Friday with Mr. Catella from the Catella Engineering, who's on the project team, and he walked me around and I saw the site, and what, I have a few concerns, and he was in agreement. I have nothing at all to say about their plan. I think it's a great plan, except for the existing erosion conditions. And we talked about how they could, what happens, you can't see it on these plans, and they're gonna add it on the next set, I believe, that are coming through, is where the river is. At the end of the slope, this existing field goes right to the edge of a very steep slope. And it's very steep in places you can't walk down it. I mean, it's a steep slope with soft soils, and then the wetlands and the river, Catlin Brook. And you can't see, right, the last elevation line on this plan in front of you, that's Catlin Brook probably. So I'd like the river on there, but there's 3 discharge points today that have eroded conditions out there. So typically, when we see a proposal like this that is doing work within several feet of such an eroded gully, you address it, you fold it into the project, and they've agreed to do that. One of them, I have pictures here, is pretty severely eroded, like, I don't know, 5 feet down, and the material is taken down into Catlin Brook. So they agreed to look at a redesign there. Like, I don't know if they're still thinking this way, but to tie their new drain into an existing, oh gosh, I guess it's a 8-inch PVC pipe, tie it in, because this slope is so, the soils are so fragile, the fewer cuts you can make into that bank, the better. So to tie it in up above where it's almost level, and then you'll only have 2 major discharges coming off this field. So that takes a little redesign, a little engineering, and they've agreed to do that. The third, those are the 2 existing pipes today. The third area I was concerned about is this building, which is going to have, it has some roof drainage, but mostly it's drainage coming down the slope for that access road that they're going to build. And by the way, earlier I had contacted the chairman saying that they wanted to get geotechnical equipment in there, so they might have to put gravel in the woods. Well, it turns out they didn't have to do that. They brought the geotech equipment through the field, it was fine. They had no problem. So there's no gravel road out there today. They're proposing one, a permanent one, that would access this small building. Anyway, for the drainage that's proposed to come down that gravel access road is going to be contained in a small storm basin on the drawings. However, I'm concerned about the discharge for that, because again, the point that they have now is right at the crest of that slope with these soft soils. So we just got to take a better look at that, because it's a sensitive area that way.
Who were you out there with, Aaron?
I believe is it Jim Catella?
Tim Catella.
Tim Catella.
Oh,
Yep.
it's a firm that works with you?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
He's a colleague of Rob's at Clark Companies.
Yep.
You're going to build this new gravel road.
Mhm.
And that bank it's got some steepness to the bank. What about the existing path that goes in there that gets muddy that can't be used? Anybody's looked at that? Why isn't that got some new base into it? That gets flooded out and gets to be a mud puddle right on the top of the hill.
It certainly could be fixed up at their request. We just had only assumed, kind of this new pathway.
And this road, you want it to go down to the bottom instead of the top to get onto the field? This is going to be a permanent gravel road?
Permanent gravel road. It'll probably only be used for maintenance vehicles. It'll probably be used for ambulances, if they
Not
are
used
going
in the
for
winter,
games.
not plowed?
No.
The road follows a cut from the installation of the original field approximately 40 years ago. So that grade had been there. We actually think that there had been stone and gravel on that decades past, and part of it is now sort of semi-wooded and part is grassed over.
Worked its way in.
That's right. But it would be an occasional maintenance path.
But this new one's the occasional maintenance.
Correct. Yeah.
But that isn't anything existing now. Is there a?
It turned out that when I spoke with some members of the team who were behind me, they could recall a time when that was actually cut open and heavier vehicles were able to use what we are now showing as the new road. It just hasn't been maintained in a number of years and has grown back over, and we would have to put some aggregate down so it could bear the weight of a truck.
Okay. All right, so you're looking for it to be tabled then. This is going to be tabled tonight. Is that correct?
I mean, we would love conditional.
Well, we don't have it.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what
Then-
conditional means. I mean, you're talking a whole bunch of other things that are kind of fall into a maintenance item at Choate, but now you're going to tie this system into that.
We'll tie it in probably at the outlet point, and I've actually done some preliminary calculations on it. It will work, and it's
Sure, but
pretty
it
easy.
becomes part of this application
It does,
now, rather than
yes.
a maintenance item involved.
So could we approve of it with the stipulations that he's going to provide us with the revised print of what we're asking for? Or no?
Well, here again, Aaron is the one who brought it up. I mean, if that came to light before this application, as I said, it would have been a maintenance repair and outlet structure to an existing storm drainage system.
Because it sounds like to me it's actually two different issues you're addressing. They're asking to do one thing with the soccer field, and you've noticed that there's a flaws in what's happening there now. So, I mean, it's just a matter of a verbal agreement, or they'll repair what's starting to erode already to make this whole thing work. They're going to be out there working around it, so it sounds to me like they're willing to go ahead and repair what you're concerned with. Is that enough to hold them up for another month?
If I may make one quick comment, when we learned from Aaron's walk around with Mr. Catella on Friday that we discovered that there was this scour, particularly under the larger 8-inch pipe, and again, that's been in place for approximately 40 years, we were prepared to put riprap and do mitigation on that maintenance item as recently as this past Monday, but we elected to not try and get ahead of Ms. O'Hare and this body by doing anything to change the existing conditions until we were able to have this conversation. But we'd be willing to address it as a maintenance item if the board would entertain that.
Are you comfortable with that, Aaron? As far as your concerns, they'll verbally agree that they'll repair what your concerns are?
I know that the town engineer he expressed concern at the interdepartmental meeting about this erosion. So he said he was going to take a very close look at this. So he will do that when it goes to planning and zoning. So I have no concern. He will address it because he knows what's out there. He knows how badly it's eroding. So he will get on top of it during that review period. So I know it'll be handled.
Then we can approve the original application for just the field.
We can approve this tonight the way we received it, with a couple modifications that you've asked for. And then when planning and zoning, they're going to address these concerns you have about the pipes scouring around them at planning and zoning, and then that'll be...
I thought I wasn't prepared to approve it tonight, but if you want to go ahead and don't want to hold it up, I feel comfortable that the engineering department will get on top of this, these three 2 existing discharges and 1 proposed discharge. He will make, Mr. Baltramatis will make sure they're designed such that they will not erode going forward into the future after they're built. That's the concern, not while it's being built, but, onward for the next few decades.
Do you understand what it's going to look like when they start to build this soccer field, this turf field, or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole area is going to be opened up. I'd be more concerned about S&E controls out there. And then this could be a tag on, if, like you said, he goes back to the board, and I'm sure they're going to agree to repair those, because if they don't, it's just a matter of time before it's going to catch up with them anyhow. So, if you had solid concerns tonight, I'd say, yeah, let's wait till next month. But I think we can go ahead and go on with the approval of the turf field. And then at planning and zoning, they'll address the scouring, but Rob can bring it up there or whatever.
okay, I guess one condition I would say, please put Catlin Brook on the map, because you can't tell that there's a river right there,
What's a brook?
a few feet down from the discharge
I
pipes.
think you've got to make sure it's Catlin and not Morton Brook at that point.
Yeah, different maps say different things,
Well, it changed all the way down. That brook had a half a dozen different names,
Okay.
okay? So,
And they also have to get the property line straight, which they understand they have to do to see whose property the river's on at different points.
well, one question is, are you removing any of the soil there now?
That's a good question. I didn't touch on that. We are removing the organics, the topsoil, the sod, and the grass material. Probably
What, 6 inches?
I don't think it's quite 6 there. It's about 3 from what our geotech had shown. And that equates to
That's all right, I don't know.
833
Where are you going to take it?
yards.
You're taking that up to your stockpile, your top
Somewhere
top stockpile?
right? Yes. Yep.
All right. At this time, I'll entertain a motion, significant activity.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion that application A19-3.2, 333 Christian Street, Choate Rosemary Hall, be deemed to be not a significant activity.
Motion made, second.
Second?
Call for a vote. Any discussion? Significant activity? Call for a vote. I'm going to go Nick,
Yes.
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Yes. This time, I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny this application.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion that application A19-3.2/333 Christian Street, Choate Rosemary Hall be approved.
With
We add some conditions?
one condition.
Okay, and that's what, the Caitlin Brook?
The two, well, I'd like it that the standard erosion control condition, that I go out and inspect the erosion control
Okay.
prior to any further activity on the site.
Okay,
And the other one being that the 2 existing eroded discharge areas are remediated as part of the project.
I haven't heard placards in a while. If you gave up on those,
No,
this would be an
no.
ideal area with all the
Great.
traffic that's out there and
Yeah, good idea.
visitors from out of town.
Yep, yeah.
all right, okay. Okay, here we go. With the following, also additional conditions of approval, the standard conditions of approval regarding notification and making sure it's being done correctly, and 2, that the eroded discharge areas be corrected.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion made, second. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Robert? Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Receipt of new applications, we're going to go through these because I think some of them can be dealt with administration approval. Okay, application A19 3.3, 2 Taylor Lane, William and Cara Smith filling in for an in-ground pool. What's the status, Aaron? Shields.
Oh,
Smith.
2 Taylor Lane, I'm sorry.
Is the property owned by Smith or by Shields?
Oh, Oh, that's very interesting. I don't know why I typed Smith. It's Shields.
You typed in Smith.
Yeah, I have no idea why I would do that. It's Shields.
Oopsie.
Okay. And what's the status of this?
They asked for it to be tabled because the design they wanted would fill some wetlands, and I didn't.
Table.
So they asked to be tabled, and now what they're doing is they're looking at turning the pool 180 degrees. Is that right? Well, turning it right around.
180 degrees, you can maybe 90 degrees.
90, it's
Turning it
180.
90 degrees, but they might have to go to the ZBA for that, but they want it that way, so they're
Okay.
gonna table it until
All
they
right.
can do that.
Application A19 3.4, 5 Research Parkway. This activity was included in the approvals of the master plan, but the fact that they didn't do the master plan, they didn't get approvals for the building, but they did do the work for the gas and electric and telephone to the daycare center. This is why they need a permit for that activity. Is that correct?
Yes, and this is tied somewhat to the demolition activity, because they're cutting off some utilities in that demolition, and so they have to do this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't be service. There'll be no
Right.
service to the daycare center.
So the request for granted for administration approval and the work, the approval was granted. Okay, now going into A19 3.5, 1175 Barnes Road. And I'm gonna bring the other one, I'm gonna bring the other one in together, I guess.
Yes, you can do that. yes.
A19 3.6. Okay. I mean, what's going on with this, Aaron?
Okay, the number 4 there really should have come in earlier, but there it is. So what that is in the original approval, where this was approved just by the commission December 5th, there was a condition number 1, that said, you gotta get these 3 things into the environmental planner within a month. Well, they came in for an extension, make it 3 months, so the commission made it 3 months. That ended March 5th. So this is just to bring it sort of retroactively back alive, that they're still in compliance with their original permit. It will reinstate, that it'll say that they're complying with condition number 1 of their original permit. They don't want to be out of compliance just because it missed March 5th and now we're April 3rd. So basically that's what you're doing. You're granting another extension to condition number 1.
All right, so that's the first part, or is that 3 or 4?
That's number 4, only because it came in later. That's why I gave it the number 4. It's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
So number 4, what, needs an administration approval or needs an approval?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, that one is, as I wrote in there under number 4, it's a request for administrator approval, and that you actually granted yesterday. We were on the phone yesterday, and you granted that.
And granted that, so they got the extension. That's
Yes,
the extension.
yes. It's an extension, not of the whole permit, it's just of
The
condition number
extension to
1.
one of the conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's approved. Now, item 3, what's item 3?
All right. You approved the original hotel design on December 5th. The commission approved it. They then came in with a revised design in response to what the planning department wanted. They, as their engineer who will present, will tell you, there was trouble with the restaurant, having the restaurant there. So they had to revise the design, and there was a few other issues. I sent out the revised design in the packet Friday night. However, there was more concerns from planning and zoning. So today, I believe it was today, John, correct me if I'm wrong, today I got the final revision, yeah. And it's before you, I handed it out tonight. So that's what John Schmidt's BL companies would like to present, the final design that is going to go to planning and zoning. Planning and zoning, we'll talk about it Monday night. So it's a modification to what you approved December 5th.
Good evening. I'll just walk you through briefly the plan. Yes, sir.
Identify yourself.
I'm sorry. John Schmitz, project manager, civil engineer with BL Companies, Meriden, Connecticut. The previous plan that was approved in December, I have a copy of that, I'll just show you, included a hotel, a proposed restaurant on the site, and obviously parking throughout. Through discussions with zoning, it was determined that the hotel had to be ancillary to the restaurant, meaning inside, so it was not acceptable in the location where it was. In speaking with our client, it was determined that we would remove the hotel, or rather the restaurant, from the project. So removing the restaurant from the project, we also had to remove all the parking. We removed approximately 90 parking spaces, the restaurant itself, and so our impervious area went down from approximately 119,000 square feet down to 80,000 square feet, or I'm sorry, 80,001 square feet. So we had about a 30% reduction in impervious area. We more or less kept our storm drainage the same. We still have sand filters, one sand filter in the front, one in the back. One change though, as you may recall, the original design, we had some underground detention. Because we have no parking now, we can go with a surface basin, and that's what we've elected to do. We maintained our 2 storm drain discharge points at level spreaders at the same location where they were previously approved. And roughly in a nutshell, that's it. We've just reduced the scope of the project.
Is that the gist of this project, this application?
Big picture, yes. What I would like John to go over is how it affects the development close to the wetlands, the discharge areas, the differences. For instance, there's a storm basin, there wasn't a storm basin before. Those kinds of, there's a few changes like that.
Right, well, as I indicated, the discharge points haven't changed. We still have, we previously had level spreaders, one at this location, another location here. But the stormwater collection system for the site previously had one sand filter at this location on the north side that then went through an underground infiltration detention system, then was discharged at this location. That system has now been removed. The piping that's in there now is perforated, so it'll provide some recharge for the roof water. The sand filter obviously holds some. It filters the water because we're in the watershed to Mackenzie Reservoir. But in the rear of the site, this half of the site goes into the sand filter at this location, which then goes into a surface pond. So again, there's no more underground detention. It's now a surface pond, a dry detention pond. And we maintain the same outlet, so it'll be at the same location, same level spreader that we had previously.
Any questions? Commissioners?
You said you're in a watershed area. They're not requiring any type of separators or anything in there?
They are. So we maintained all that. Wallingford Water and Sewer Division, we're in the, obviously, watershed to Mackenzie River, which is why we have the sand filters. So stormwater from the parking lots goes through a flow splitter device, goes through an oil grit separator device, then into the sand filter. There's an under drain system that takes the water from the sand, bottom of the sand, and then discharges it after that. So there is, those water quality improvements are required as part of being in the watershed.
And I always ask this question, do you have a maintenance plan for it?
Yes, we do. There was one in the original application. It's been updated for this application because previously we did not have the above ground pond. So Aaron had asked us to update that O&M manual to include the pond.
And who, post-construction, who will receive that?
Well, the O&M will be obviously maintained on site. The report, all the reports and all the inspections, but we can certainly send copies of that to the wetlands officer if that's something that you'd like to see.
Well, my concern is that we always hear the construction, the design and construction of it, but I'm concerned after the fact, who's going to maintain it, who's going to watch it, who's going to make sure that everything is to snuff. You get a tractor trailer that pulls in there on a cold winter night and he pops a line in his oil or in his fuel tank and you saturate your underground system, which isn't going to handle, who's going to be eyes on site to rectify that before it does more damage downstream?
Well, just a couple of things. One, because it's a hotel, there's staff available 24/7 in the hotel. The O&M manual does include some spill control criteria about how to manage spills. But the ultimate responsibility is to the owner of the hotel to train his people to make sure that they are in compliance and understand how to respond to emergencies such as that.
All right, do you see with your experience that this is something that's happening post-construction? That the owners of the property are training, or they're letting their people know that this takes place, what needs to be done?
This is the first project I've worked with this client, so I can't make any representation of what they've done on other sites. But they do have their company does have multiple hotels, I believe, somewhere in the area of 25, so they, throughout New England. So they are a rather large company. It's not a fly-by-night operation.
All right, my last question is, the open pond area that you talk about for the drainage, that's going to be wet all the time. Is that going to be a mosquito heaven? Is that going to be groomed? What's going to happen around that surrounding area once the post-construction of the site? Once you open it up for business, how is that going to be maintained?
It'll be designed as a dry detention pond. So when it's not raining, it should just be dry. Obviously, when it rains, it's going to detain water for some period of time before it leaves. But the pond will be maintained. It'll be mowed routinely, periodically during the summer months.
Okay. That's all I have.
Dave?
No questions.
Debbie?
No questions.
Robert?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like John to talk a little bit about the flocculants for the small pond.
Sure. The original condition, one of the original conditions of approval for the project included, asked that we include flock logs. Again, I think that was something that they're looking for in the watershed, mostly during construction to keep sediment from transporting downstream. So what we did was, on our erosion control plan, we added flocculant logs to check dams so that we would intercept stormwater, as we have diversion ditches that go into our sed traps. The runoff during construction will pass through stone check dams. They'll be lined with flock logs, so the flocculant gets into the runoff stream. By the time it gets to the sed trap, any stuff any sediment will hopefully settle out at that point and not continue downstream.
I'd like to suggest some conditions of approval. I should say, I did sit down with John yesterday, I believe, and we went over the plan, so I am comfortable with this new plan. And the conditions of approval that I'm thinking of is the standard erosion control one, where I go out and inspect the erosion control measures before any further activity on the site. Wetland placards.
But those things are already in the original permit.
Actually, it is in the original. So then you'd have to just say, all the conditions of the original permit must be adhered to, and a suggestion is to add wetland placards. I thought that was a good suggestion of Nick's, to add wetland placards to the previous application if you want to do that, and that was it.
So
You want placards? You're saying that a condition of approval is placards?
Yes, and to abide by the conditions in the original permit.
Okay.
All right. Now, this can be approved tonight?
Yes, it can be approved tonight if you feel comfortable doing so.
But is this the first time we looked at it? How are you going to handle that? Is this an administration approval?
No, this would be a regular.
Because this is a modification to the permit?
Yeah. If you feel comfortable, if you want to take some time and look at it.
Yes, I'm trying to find out whether it needs administration, but this is a modification to the permit.
Right, no, it's not administrative approval.
All right. Okay, what we just strained out is that this can be voted on tonight, acted upon tonight, because it's a modification to the existing approval that they had, the existing permit. So it falls into a little different category than if this is the first time we've seen this application. So if there's a motion to approve tonight, I'd like to hear it now.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that application A19-3.5, 1175 Barnes Road, Shield Hotels, modification of permit IWWC A18-10.1 be approved. The conditions of approval being that the same conditions of approval in the original permit carryover, and two, that inland wetland placards be placed on the property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second made. Any discussion? I'll call for vote. Ally?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Going on to item 5, A19 3.7, 988 East Center Street. We have an application there for their new site plan.
Yes, that went out in the packet Friday night. I do have a letter that came in this afternoon from their attorney. Shall I read it?
I don't know, what's it say?
It's regarding the new application and the notice of violation. The purpose of this letter is to document in writing the conversation I had with Aaron earlier today about the above matters. As Aaron and the commissioners know, Mr. Senavita represents Benchmark Land Development with respect to both matters, the application and the violation. With respect to the new application recently filed to address the master plan for the development of the site, while simultaneously addressing the existing violation, it is my understanding that at the April meeting, the new application, that's tonight, will be accepted and scheduled for action at the May 1st meeting. I believe that is an appropriate action, as both you and my client's project team will be able to meet, discuss any legitimate concerns, and hopefully achieve a final plan that receives commission approval. My client and I look forward to working with you. With respect to the notice of violation, it is my fervent hope that the Wetland Commission will extend the date of May 1st. That was the date to remove all the fill. It's cited at the February meeting to remove the existing wetlands fill. In this way, the removal can be addressed concurrently with the new application. In this way, a master plan for restoring wetlands, creating new wetlands, and improving the overall functionality of the wetlands can be handled comprehensively. His client, I appreciate their indulgence of this matter, the Commission's indulgence of this matter, and look forward to presenting our plan at the May 1st meeting. Our goal is to restore and improve the wetlands on the property.
Okay. All right. So going on, A19 3.8, 79 Brentwood Drive, retaining wall.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were going to go on so fast, Mr. Chairman. So I was discussing with Attorney Senaviva tonight. Does the commission want to consider modifying the order to remove all the material by May 1st?
Well, he indicates he isn't going to remove anything by May 1st.
Yes, so.
So what do you want to modify it for?
No, do we want to keep it May 1st and then he's going to be in violation of the order?
Well, not on May 1st. So what are you going to do, modify it and say you got to take one shovelful out? I don't understand, Aaron.
No, I just want to make sure that we're okay with that. Not to make it June 1st or just to let it roll till May 1st and deal with it that night and see if,
That's probably all you're going to get, because they're not going to do anything before May 1st.
okay?
They rather, what are you going to have? If they were going to do something, it'd be done already. Some action would have been taken already if they're going to do something. So I don't know what you expect them not to do or do.
No, I was just looking ahead, like, first of this application. It might be a significant activity, might not. Okay, so it drags on, it moves forward into the future, and typically they have 5 years to do an application.
This is exactly why last month, wanted to get a deadline on to get the wetland violation corrected. They chose not to do anything.
Yes,
They're gonna come in on May 1st, it happens to be the date that they had until,
yes.
say, well, we're here with a plan to do what? And when? So I don't know what you think you want to extend. What do you want to extend? What do you suggest?
I would like to see them remove the fill.
Well,
And
let's
then-
tell them so.
And then, if you want to approve the plan that you got Friday night, fine, well, then we approve that plan.
That's exactly what should be done. The fill is out of there, the pipe, the railroad is all reconnected, put it back the way it's supposed to be, or the way they're gonna have their plan say. And then we can entertain their application May 1st.
Yeah,
You got the answer right there.
that was my feeling, but I guess that they didn't feel that way.
Well, did you tell them it was your feeling?
Yes.
Were you forceful? I mean, I don't know I don't know you want the commission to do. This is exactly what happens to the violators. They sit and it floats and it floats and it floats, and nothing happens. Well, we're gonna have submit a plan. I don't know what you wanna do.
Well, I guess, I wish Attorney Genevieve had other meetings he had to attend to tonight, but if he was here, I think you could make it, and I will be glad to convey the message, get that fill out, and then we'll be more predisposed to listen on May 1st to your new plan.
It certainly would work for me.
Okay, good.
Okay, go ahead.
Do we have to say that your violation is still in effect?
We're not to that page yet,
Okay.
that paragraph. We gotta get to there.
Okay.
Okay, Brent Swets, application A19, 3.8, 79 Brentwood Drive. This is a replacement of an existing retaining wall,
Yeah,
but this needs to be looked at, because it's involved in upland review areas, or...
yeah, it's right near it's right kissing the water,
They're kissing the water,
yeah.
and is this a bonded job?
I don't know, it just came in. Just came in Friday, I
Okay.
think, or
And
Thursday.
application A19, 4.13, Technological Drive, Call Schools Expansion.
Yes, that's a school. That's a school that's expanding.
What kind of school is that?
Don't know, I just got it, I don't know, Thursday, Friday, I don't know when it came in.
All right.
Things are coming in fast and furious right now.
Wow. It must be our economy doing so well. Okay, budget, you've got that under control. Our budget has stayed the same,
Yeah,
so we're not asking for any increases. Reports to the mayor, this is Providence and Worcester. They've got a vegetation control program, right? It has nothing to
Yes.
do with East Center Street.
nothing to do with that other, no.
Okay, it's pretty standard. All right, violations. You have East Center Street, then we'll entertain that to stay in effect. Dave, if you want.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the notice of violation 988 East Center Street, Benchman Land Development LLC, unpermitted filling and drainage alteration remain in effect.
Second?
Can I amend that motion? Do you want to as what you said, do you want to add and reaffirm the order to remove material by May 1st? That order also stands?
Sure. And that the order for removal of soil by May 1st, continue. I'm sorry. Want me to read that over again?
What's that?
You want me to read that over again? 'Cause there's-
Yeah, read that one over again.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the notice of violation 988 East Center Street, Benchmark Land Development LLC and Providence and Worcester Railroad Company, unpermitted filling and drainage alteration remain, and the previous order that all these unpermitted filling be removed by May 1st, 2019, remain in effect.
Motion made, second.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any discussion? Calls for a vote. Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Robert? Yes. Okay, yes. Violation, IWWCA 16.2.1, 530 Church Street, staff report.
All right, these are things it's half done, half not done, but he's going to address it. It's waiting for this spring and the things to dry out a little bit. He can't fix that base until it dries out a bit.
All right, so is there a deadline that it's going to dry out by?
I didn't give him a deadline, depends on the weather.
Well, maybe next June, a year from now?
Oh, good point. Okay, July 1st,
What's going to happen July 1st?
It'll all be done.
that all the erosion control, all the corrections have to be done by July 1st.
All
Or
right.
June, maybe June 15th, so the grass can grow. How about June 15th?
Well,
Might be a wet June like it was last year.
I don't think it makes much difference. If he's on the ball and in June 15th, by June 15th it's capable to being done, he would do it.
Right.
If he can't do it by June 15th, if you'd be fool not to get it done by July 1st.
Okay, so what, do you want to just reaffirm the order? You want to give him a date?
Well, I think you gotta give him a date that these issues have to be finished by. So give him June 15th.
Okay.
Give him June 15th and we'll deal with the problem at the time, if there's a reason why it's not. So notice, or a motion made to
Continue the violation.
maintain the violation.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that notice of violation IWWC A 16-2.1, 530 Church Street, Joseph Maneri, Timberwood Homes LLC, erosion and non-compliance issues be maintained, and that the erosion and non-compliant issues be resolved by June 15th, 2019.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Ally?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, note number 3, notice of violation 52 Hanover Street, Quinnipiac River. Come on in, Frank. Just your name for the record.
Frank Vitale.
Aaron?
All right. Mr. Vitale's been cooperating with our office and Roman Rosinski Southwest Conservation District. Roman had written a report, which you received a copy of his report on this significant violation. And he's instrumental in helping me pull together an erosion control plan that will work. And as with their contractor, we have a appointment tomorrow in the morning with Roman, the owner, me, and the contractor all together to look at what the contractor has done. He thinks the contractor, in his estimation, he's done, is that correct, Mr. Vitale? He's done with the erosion control part.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, not the planting part, but the erosion control measure part. So the purpose of this meeting is for Roman and I to look at it and say, okay, need more hay bales over here, or, you know, I know right away, we both of us specified filter socks, or Roman specified filter socks, and they used hay bales. Are the hay bales good enough? Does he have to go out and get some filter socks? Because your filter socks are like a snake, you can go up and down the bumps, so they work better. Just to look at what's there. We'll accomplish that at the meeting tomorrow. But then, separate from that, we're working up a planting plan, and then that will happen next.
Has the unsolicited traffic stopped on your trail?
No.
I thought the town closed off Pregman Park to your property.
No, there's a space, there's a whole section of fence that's missing, and that's where everybody comes through.
With the quads and everything?
Not the bikes anymore, because they got the big blocks. That was many years ago. There hasn't been dirt bikes in a long time, so.
So you just have general population?
A lot of people fishing, walking their dogs, and just hanging out before I cleared it out, but, you know, garbage everywhere, same old, so.
That's a shame. Well, there's nothing, everything's going along as planned.
Well, yes, we did have some, I guess, some people threw hay bales in the river, which is not good, of course, you know, kids or whatever. It's felt, you know, I did reach out to the Park and Rec people to put back that fencing, and it's felt that it'll just come down again. And so then, actually, the owner's idea was to take another concrete block, put it on top of so you make a block wall. And I was told today that that would have to go to the risk manager's office because people could climb up and jump off the block wall. So you wouldn't believe how hard it is to get, you know, folks to stop trespassing. It's hard. One thing that might help is if we plant stuff and put wood chips or whatever in that trail so it doesn't look like a trail, because it looks very inviting. You see this trail going down, so I understand why people might be enticed to walk down that, but it's a difficult situation.
Your plantings are gonna have to have prickers.
Prickers.
Multifloral rows, that'll stop them.
Oof.
Aaron, you talked about erosion. What about something like pachysandra that spreads like wildfire? Couldn't you put some pachysandra in the bank and have that whole thing stabilized and not have-
Maybe, that's a good, I'll see if that will fly, yeah.
and not worry about, my other question is that the property belongs to the property owner, right? We just regulate what he can do with it.
Yeah,
So is he allowed to fence it off so that they can't get through there?
oh, absolutely, up to the point of the floodway, you know, we don't want them putting a fence in the floodway, but it's up high. He could, yes, it's expensive.
But where's the path? Where's the linear trail in the floodway? Or the sewer line in this floodway?
The trunk line?
Not really, no, maybe in other parts, but this is kind of high. The bank is, what's,
But that's not, is that
6
where
feet high?
According to the pictures, it looks like they're walking right along the river.
Yes, but the bank dropped.
Trail, there's actually a brown sewer cover. That's the trail they're walking on. It's right above the sewer.
That's where the linear trail is gonna go too, right on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where they're.
but is that in the floodway?
No, not it kisses the floodway, but it's not in the floodway. It's in the 100-year floodplain maybe, but not the floodway. Not the floodway where you can't obstruct the flow. I think it's pretty, have you ever seen water lap up over that 6-foot bank?
No. It's gotten to the top, but never over.
Yeah, it's about 6 feet, I'd say.
Not since the dam broke down Hall Avenue, plus the dam broke at, the seafood place. It's just, Westbrook Lobster. There was a dam there, and there was a dam down at Hall Avenue. Since both of those dams have blown out, he's right about the peak is probably just the bank, or
Yeah,
it doesn't come over that unless we have a good 500-year storm. But I was just wondering if he could get some, the wood fence and put 2 or 3 sections there and they get the hint. You know,
you could try. It's expensive though, but
well, it's $30 a length at Home Depot, so you got 4 lengths, that's 4 times 3 is $120. And then the people can't, they're gonna get the message if he puts no trespassing on both sides till the linear trail comes through, then
Yeah.
you'll have to remove it, take it down then. But for temporary no trespassing, I believe it's your property, you're allowed. The only thing that may occur is the water and sewer department needs access for maintenance through that property, because I know they come through my house every year. I'm downstream of you. But they have an easement there, their easement requires that they can come on your property and groom it or take down fallen trees or whatever, so. But I think they're flexible, they'll work with you. But that's one way of stopping the, because the more hay bales you put there, the more hay bales are gonna be at my house, so they're just gonna throw them in the river.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what, Aaron? What are we doing now here? The notice of violation, does it stay in effect?
Yes, you should affirm the notice of violation. The law department likes that to be done, yes.
When does the notice of violation eliminate? When is the violation eliminated?
When it's stabilized, when the plantings have lived, the plantings that are coming live.
Okay.
So we want to see him back here in a couple months then instead of every month with a report?
Oh, sure, he doesn't have to come back.
He's welcome here anytime.
So,
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay,
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
no, were we all set, or?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
No.
thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that notice of violation 52 Hanover Street / Quinnipiac River, Mary Jane Webster Lagasse and et al., Frank Vitale, forest removal, remain in effect.
Second,
Second?
motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Ally?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, anything else to come before us tonight? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
5/4. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?